healing. So I shared a little bit earlier tonight about where we have been in Torah. We have been in some big, big epic moments. Just weeks ago, we made a break from the narrow place into the expanse, from Mitzrayim into Midbar, into wilderness, from the narrow place. And it was awe-inspiring and incredible. Walls of water onto the other side. And shortly after that, we came to a mountain that was shaking and on fire. And shofar blasts came, and it was the beginning of Torah, awe-inspiring, amazing. And now we're here. We're in the wilderness, and we have to figure out how to go from being a group of slaves into a community of free people. After the incredible receiving of miracles, of redemption, of revelation, now what do? We have this journey together in the wilderness to become a community. So what's a great thing for people to do when it's time to become a community? We need a project. We need a project to all get involved in, to figure out what's your part, what's my part, what's happening here. How do we work together and build something together? So we're going to do a building project. That's what comes next in Torah, the building of the Mishkan, the tabernacle. Such an interesting word, English word, tabernacle. Mishkan, the building of a sacred place for God's presence with the people in the wilderness. It has to be movable. Everybody's got to donate to build it. They'll have different roles. And we began this project last week in Torah, making donations, beginning to get instruction for this building project. And we are a part now, inside, started last week, of this building project that's going to go on for 8 parshiot, until it arrives at a parsha that's called Shmini, which means the 8th. And that's the day of the dedication of the Mishkan, on the 8th day. So every year it's a good time to think of like, okay, where are we in this building project of our lives during these 8 weeks? I was thinking the other day, it's this time of year, March, that we have in the past had a Nefesh retreat. And the last Nefesh retreat was in 2019, and it was the Parsha Shmini, and we were thinking about the Mishkan and building. And Mark Wurendorf built this ark based on the instructions, part of the instructions from the Torah. And then Nefesh, shortly after, embarked on a big building project, building a community together. In this specific parsha, Tetzave, the focus right at the beginning is specifically on Aaron and the line of the Kohanim, the priests. And it's a lot of instructions about what to make for Aaron the priest. This distinct role. Everybody's going to have different roles in community, and Aaron is the priest. He's also the translator, the interpreter, the intermediary. And Moses is the prophet, the spiritual leader, the communer with God. Miriam, the protector, the bringer of water and dance and song. And also the righteous rebel, when she questions why things are going the way they're going. Each of these siblings, their own unique role, not like the others. So in this time, what is the role you are creating, you are bringing into the world of your path right at this time in your life? It's not going to be the same as others around you, as siblings, as lovers, as friends. What is your unique role? These 8 weeks are a good time to reflect on this. Here we get Aaron. Aaron gets special clothes for his unique role. Wouldn't that be nice if we could design? Well, maybe that's what we do when we wear clothes. I don't know. Some of us I think are more creative at it than others. But what would it be to design just the right vestments for our role in life? At least at this time. Our vestments can change over time. But for Aaron's sacral vestments, they're made for kavod v'tiferet, for dignity and for splendor. Dignity and splendor. That is a great role to bring to the world, by the way. I am a bringer of dignity and splendor. And Aaron is to be made a breastpiece, an ephod, a robe, which, by the way, later we learn has pomegranates and bells, a fringed tunic, a headdress, a sash, sacral vestments. And who are supposed to make these sacral vestments? And involved with all the building of the Mishkan, there's another role. People who are hacham lev, people who are wise of heart, are to do this special building. And that usually gets translated as skilled artisans. So a role of artist is to be wise of heart. Yet another role, priest, prophet, wise of heart, translator, interpreter, protector, bringer of water. So many different roles in Torah, and not all the same. And friends, we have a special holiday coming this week. What is that one? As I always do to the kids. Shout it out! It's Purim. Purim is coming. And there we find Esther, Queen Esther, who has her unique destiny in the story of our people. This idea of each of us having our own role is a theme in our people. Especially in Hasidut, in Hasidic thinking and writing, there are stories about how each of us need to take our own skills and gifts and find the path that is just for us. So there's a story of a well-known rabbi from the Ukraine in the 1700s, and every day people would come to study with this mystical Hasidic rabbi named Rav Zusia. And they'd say to Rav Zusia, teach us. And people would come from all over to learn in this study house. It was a special place to learn. But one day he wasn't there. So his students went to his house, and they found that he was ill and in fact dying. But he was terribly upset. And they said, Rav Zusia, you've taught us that all things must die. You have taught us about embracing life and letting go into death. So why are you so upset right now? And he said, yes, it's natural to die. I do not fear dying. All living things die. So a student said, oh, okay, so maybe you're thinking, I didn't have as much faith as Abraham, or I didn't follow the commandments, the mitzvot, in the way that Moses would have. Maybe that's why you're upset? Nope, that's not why I'm upset. If God asks me why I was not more like Abraham, I will say, because I'm not Abraham. And if God asks me, why weren't you more like Moses? I'll say, because I'm not Moses. But if God asks me, why weren't you more like Zeusia? What will I say? What is it to be so fully ourselves in this life? Yeah, okay, Rabbi, how do we do that? Well, the first part is to discern. The first part is to discern what are my unique skills, passions, and gifts, which are also deeply integrated with my challenges and struggles. What are my unique skills and gifts and challenges and struggles? I was just hearing a teaching this week, which I often hear from spiritual teachers, which is just let go of the parts of your life that are hard. Oh, okay, let go of that difficult childhood. Let go, just whoosh, let it go. I don't know that that's possible. I also don't know that it's advisable. Because right there, at the core of the things that are most challenging for us, right there is where we are, Zeusia, most ourselves, right in the middle of who we are, right there. Maybe you had a childhood where you were expected to be really together, to have your stuff together, to be responsible, even though you were a kid. And then you find later that you're real good when people need to rely on you. You are real good in emergency situations. Yes, thank you, I can handle this. Okay, all right. May you also learn how to put down the backpack from time to time and not carry it all the time. And amen, hallelujah, to knowing what is needed and being able to do it. Maybe that's your skill, challenge, gift, struggle package. Often this is not easy to do alone. This is something to ask other people who love and care about us to help us figure this out. What is the place where my unique offerings, skills, interests, gifts come together with what I struggle with to find what it is that I bring to the world? Often we need another person to help us in this, to help us figure this out. Or maybe our friends and family and loved ones have been trying to tell us for a while. So we can go back and say, remember that thing you said? Could you tell me a little bit more about that? So that's the first part. The second part is bringing all of that right into the world around us and seeing how the world wants to talk back to who we are. Because every moment calls for different things historically, based on where we are living, what our community needs right now. What are the voices that need to be heard? What are the roles to play? Figuring out where I am, figuring out where the world is, and how those connect. Because we can't just do it all solo, and we can't only be responsible and responsive to the world. We have to be responsible. But we can't only think, oh, what does the world need? And I'll just forego any of my own gifts, skills, and interests. No, we need to bring those two together. And that's, by the way, where we do the most effective and meaningful work in the world. Not somebody else's work, your work in the world. So here comes Queen Esther. Oh, she's learned how to fit in real well. We don't know a lot about her early childhood, just that she was adopted because she lost her parents. And when it's time to fit in with the royal court, she's ready. All the skills and gifts in her life have prepared her for this moment, and she does it. And she fits in real well, and she becomes the favorite of King Ahasuerus. But she likes to do that a little bit by like, let's just all keep it on the down low. We'll just get by. She's very good at that. But then stuff is going wrong. Stuff is getting ugly for the Jewish people. It's getting bad. That guy, his name starts with an H, you can come on Monday night and make all the noise. He's evil, and he's trying to bring us down. And she is like, shh, let's just keep it quiet. And Mordecai, her uncle, is freaking out about what's happening. It's desperate times. He puts on sackcloth and goes outside of the gates and is trying to summon Esther. And she's like, no. Shh. And she offers some clothes to be taken out to him so he can get his clothes on, because stop with the dramatic sackcloth and ashes, okay? We just need to be quiet to get by. And he says, no, Esther, actually, this is not that time. What's happening in the world right now is not going to allow us to be quiet and get by. Mordecai had this message to be given to Esther. Don't think that you're going to get by, that you're going to get out of this, that everybody is going to be in harm's way, but you will be safe. And maybe, Esther, you have been touched. You have been touched by royalty for just this very purpose. This is where who you are and what the people need meet in a way that only you can do. You are inside the court. You have access and power and privilege, and you can say something. You're the only one who can. And Esther says, okay, yes, go get everybody together. Assemble all the Jews that live in Shushan. Start fasting. We're going to do this. I'm going to bring this to the king, and if I die, I will die. So it says, Mordecai went out and did all that Esther commanded him to do. Tzivat, commanded him to do. And she was ready to take the leadership, and she did. So what is moving in the world right now that you need to stand up with inside of? All that you are with all that the world is right now. That's what we're here to figure out. And I want to say something about age right here. I think there's a false idea that figuring out happens when you're a young adult. It does. Anybody here a young adult? Like, blessings on you. Big time of figuring out. But it doesn't stop then. And it doesn't happen only once. And a word on Esther. The tradition tells us that Esther was 40 years old, while another place suggests that Esther is 74, because it's the gematria of her name, Hadassah. And because there's a connection between Abraham's age, when he left where he was from, at 75. 75, everybody. There's still another midrash that I think puts her at 80. This is not how we usually talk about Queen Esther. Okay? We can, and we always are, figuring out, growing, changing, figuring out our life path in relationship to the world. And we get that chapter, and it goes for a while, and then we need a new chapter. There's this new concept being talked about of middlescence, between 45 and 65, the time of the greatest transition in our lives, and such possibility. So friends, May you discern your unique skills and gifts and passions, born of your unique challenges and struggles. And may you bring all of that into the world around you to discover and to move with your unique role in this world. May all of our destiny, may all of our destinies unfold. Shabbat Shalom.